2019 was completed with some strong and determined predictions of how this new decade would bring about change and development in the world of personal branding, marketing, and photography. This clash of ideas and predictions were dashed as 2020 actually delivered an unprecedented turn of events that put all of these predictions upside down and inside out. Today we revisit the Influencer Trends 2020. In this here, our final part 3, we're re-examining my trend predictions about wider branding behaviours. Here are some of the predictions I made about our wider behaviours this time last year, about 2020. Let's play them back together and see if I got things spot on or totally wrong. I made this prediction about micro-learning experiences.
Micro-learning is an industry predicted to go even bigger over 2020. People are becoming even more refined and niche in the way that they want to learn skills and acquire new knowledge. So if one of your New Year's resolutions this year is to learn how to mix even better cocktails, I am willing to bet that you would much rather go and have the in-person learning experience with that local master bartender instead of going out there, buying a book, buying all of the ingredients and having a bash at it yourself. With this wave of micro-focused experiential learning, a lot of marketing specialists are predicting that this will have an effect on product-based businesses. If you've been planning as a small business owner to release that specialized box that focuses on a particular piece of your service, 2020 is absolutely the year to do it.
I predicted that 2020 was set to see a lot of in-person learning experiences being a big part of your year ahead. I got this totally wrong. However, that being said, the surge in acquiring a new skill of finally getting to grips with that lifetime ambition hobby of yours was incredibly trendy. We just did this from home in a remote way. I'm interested to know how you feel about your ability to learn now, looking ahead at 2021. Do you feel more empowered and inclined to do more online learning next year, or are you champing at the bit to get out and learn in person once again? The term Boomerlenials, a refusal to be categorized by age.
We already know that the baby boomer generation is probably the most rebellious generation alive today. Those beautiful hellraisers have gone ahead and created their own grouping, which has obviously shaken things up for marketers who love a good demographic stereotype. Think about a relative who is in their 50s or 60s and you know that they are an early adopter of all things tech. They have more followers on social media than you and they are much better with their finances. The millennial habits adopted by a much older demo.
I got this prediction spot on! With the nation's true love and admiration of Captain Tom walking for the NHS this year at the grand age of 100 years old, I'm inclined to say that mass appreciation of our seniors has become way more trendy this year. I still feel like the trend of more age diversity is going to continue for brands, especially in the world of fashion. If there is a granny catwalk at this year's London Fashion Week, I am there. I'm looking at you, Chanel. Who is the best definition of a boomerlenial in your life? The early adopter who is so down with the latest, despite their age being over 55. Let me know below in the comments. Continuous animation. Did we see a shift of some brands adopting continuous animation this year?
I have been an avid lover of the joy that is the funny GIF for years now. If you go and take a look at any of my blog posts, you'll get what I mean. I've noticed a little bit of a trend creeping in amongst some of the most savviest entrepreneurs I'm connected with online and in person who have their own small businesses. A few people have started being trailblazers by building their own catalogue of GIFs of themselves so that when they put content out on social media, they can further personalize it.
I like to think I got this trend spot on. But a big thing to add here is that there were still not enough scrappy small businesses with originality and lots of heart taking this clever approach to their marketing. with the metadata capabilities and tracking traffic qualities of sharing public gifts with the world, this is still a really big growing trend for me. I'm even working on my own right now, so watch this space. Colour behaviour.
I have done a lot of research about colorways and color trends for 2020 when putting these episodes together. And actually, I think that the best way to describe it is that there are two very different schools of thought on this. We've already talked about cyberpunk colorways and the trend of the gradient coming in, and as bright as possible and as layered as possible is still going to be a really big trend for 2020, but you want to remember that that trend is based through tech. So on your YouTube channel, on your website, potentially in store. The other school of thought is all around going back to nature and going back to earth. I went into a lot of detail about this a couple of weeks ago. And if you are a small business owner and anything that you create is to do with the home, you want to make sure that you follow the trends set out by Dulux and Pantone this year. New Dawn is a very muted green, and that has been chosen by Dulux this year to be their colour of 2020. Pantone just announced their colour of the year as Classic Blue, and I actually like to think that when you put these colours together, it looks an awful lot like planet Earth from space. I think that this finally marks a really interesting point in time for us where we're all starting to take personal responsibility for the environment, and it's getting into the zeitgeist now. It's going beyond politics and it's becoming part of our collective consciousness.
And I was spot on. In this episode of Moi TV a couple of weeks ago, we saw me sharing how cyberpunk colorways in software and tech were trendy. I added to this color prediction last year that we were probably going to see a surge towards Zen and nature with an eco twist, especially when it came to color decisions about our homes. Again, I got this spot on! We all spend so much of our time this year in our homes. Gardening was so on trend in the UK, where we had a very hot summer. We collectively worked at bringing nature's colour back into our lives whilst we reflected on scary world events. This was a Moi TV Bulletin production. These corresponding episodes are here for your viewing pleasure. Sit back and enjoy. Until next week, goodbye.